All right, I'm on the phone with head football coach Mark Shields, as we are every week during football season, every Monday and Thursday. And Coach, a disappointing loss at Old Town. You've reviewed the tapes. Obviously, when we talked last week, we had mentioned turnovers being key to the game, and 3 turnovers. It's tough to win a football game when you have 3 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, Chris, coming into that game, knowing that Old Town with their high-powered offense and, just a good football team. You don't go undefeated if you're not. And, I mean, the game plan was to try to, control the clock the best we could, move the chains, no turnovers, and don't give up big plays. Well, we didn't do very well at, any of those aspects. I mean, for starters, yeah, I mean, we definitely had 3 turnovers, which, I mean, you're not really going to win big games if you have 3 turnovers. But giving up big plays, I mean, that was huge as well. And, overall, I thought our defense played pretty well. I mean, you look at the stats, like, well, they did put up some yards, but I thought our guys, I thought they fought hard all night long. And, we gave up a couple of big pass plays here and there. And we knew number 4, that Crawford, their tailback, he was a tough guy to bring down, and he definitely was. And, but for me, because most of my focus is on the offensive side of the ball, calling the plays, and you have to score in the red zone, and we were down there 2, 3, 4 times, and we just could not get in the end zone. And I mean, that's a credit to their defense, Old Town's defense. I mean, we saw that in the Foxcroft game. Foxcroft moved the ball up and down the field a lot like we did in their game against them, but boy, when you get down inside the 10-yard line, man, those guys are hard to score on, and they were, they outplayed us. They deserved to be the top seed right now, either first or second, and they did win the coin toss to be 1. And, hats off to them for sure. I mean, there's some good things going on up there, and, they should be proud of what they've accomplished for sure.
No doubt. You did mention the fact that the lack of scoring. I mean, you had some opportunities, just couldn't punch it in.
Yeah, I mean, I know we turned the ball over maybe once down there, but we were running the stuff we normally run. When we get inside the 10, we want to power it in there, and they were stopping that. And we did try to throw a couple of times down there, and unsuccessfully. And it was just one of those nights. Here it is. What was it? 0-0 at the end of the half.
It was at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and then it was 8-8, and I'm thinking, okay, this is exactly the type of game we want. And then, they get a couple quick scores in the second quarter. Next thing you know, you're down, 16, and we were terrible stopping them on their 2-point conversions. And, I guess what was most frustrating, honestly, as a coach as a coaching staff, is the fact that it almost looked like we never worked on some of that stuff, all week. And the reality is we did. I mean, we worked real hard on. There was nothing new that they did to us that we hadn't practiced. But, the thing is, it's always different when you get on that field and it's high pressure. And, I mean, obviously the speed of the game is a lot quicker than it would be on the practice field. And, and kids make mental mistakes. And, but there's, I told the kids after the game, there's no blame of one individual. I said, this is, all of us lost this game right from the coaching staff down. I don't think I called the greatest game ever offensively. I think there's some things I could have done differently, and and there were some good things we did. I mean, we did move the ball up and down the field from time to time, and defensively played hard, and special teams we did okay, but just didn't play well enough to beat a team on the road who's undefeated. Playing with a lot of confidence. And
senior night, I mean, they had everything going for them.
They did, and I mean, they're a good football team, and to be honest, they were better than I thought they were going to be, and like I said, they deserve to be one of the top seeds in our conference.
In retrospect, though, as we were just talking off air, to finish the regular season 6-2 in third place, I mean, that is beyond what you and I had talked about in July.
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking, oh boy, we could be 0-3 out of the gates, and and that I told the kids after the game, they should be proud of what they've accomplished this season thus far. If somebody were to tell us that we were going to be 6-2 after an 8-game schedule and have a home playoff game, we would have been ecstatic. So I told the kids that season's now over, the regular season, and now the second season begins for the playoffs, and now it's time for us to try to make our playoff run, and all the goals we still have, had earlier are still intact. I mean, all that stuff is still out there to get. So, for us, it's just we have to get back to work and work hard. And, the thing about it is you got an Oceanside come into town who just played us 2 weeks ago, and they just had a big game over Belfast they won. I mean, that was kind of their first playoff game. They had to win that. And, I thought we played pretty well against them, but it's usually a different game when you face a team twice, and it's a playoff game, so there's a lot more at stake. So I'm anticipating this is going to be a real close game Friday night against Oceanside.
Hey, so let's talk about the seedings. You've got Old Town number 1, Winslow number 2, MDI 3, and then Madison is 4, Foxcroft Academy is 5, and Oceanside is 6. So the top 6 teams make it. Belfast, tough luck loser in that whole process, is they're just out of the playoffs. You've got Foxcroft at Madison, and then you're obviously hosting Oceanside. The winner of the MDI Oceanside game then now has to go on the road on Saturday, November 5th, and play at Winslow, and the winner of the Foxcroft-Madison game will go to Old Town on November 4th and play the Coyotes.
Yep, that's right. And, the reality is, when you get to that semifinal round, even the quarterfinal round, it's going to be a tough game. And then, of course, the farther you go, that semifinal round, you're going to have to play an undefeated team. It's either going to be Old Town or it's going to be Winslow, and it's kind of pick your poison because both those teams are high-powered and flying high and playing well. So, for us, it's really important that we focus on this Oceanside game. And, the fear here is, we beat this team, whatever it was, 42-13 maybe 2 weeks ago, and now it's like, well, we can start overlooking them and start looking towards Winslow. And that's the biggest mistake in the world that we could ever make, because you start looking past teams in the playoffs, and next thing you know, you're going to be really disappointed, and you'll be collecting an equipment the next week. So, for us, we just have to keep getting better. There's a lot of mistakes to work on after the Old Town game, and that starts today with our first Monday practice.
So, what do you work on this week?
Yeah, I think once again it's pass coverage. This team, I thought we did pretty well against Oceanside. Our pass coverage was decent, and looking at the tape yesterday, they did drop a lot of passes, which would have kept them in the game, and I think it would have been a lot closer. And, as far as, offensively, who knows what we're going to see from them defensively. I mean, usually the second time you play a team, especially if you had success, a lot of times they'll come out in an entirely different defense. So
right.
you just don't know. So we practice against all kinds of fronts, but, and then once again, special teams. I think it's back to we got to get better across the board. And honestly, it was right down to fundamentals. We kind of talked about, I think I'd said on Thursday maybe, how we had gone back to fundamentals last week and get better at, the things that we worked on in the preseason. And I honestly think it's the same thing this week. We got to go back to fundamentals and, protecting the football on offense and playing good pass coverage and running good pass routes. Our pass game, once again, was not very effective, and you just can't beat teams in the playoffs if they're going to load the box on you defensively and you can't throw the football. So, I think all that stuff has to happen. That
little halfback waggle that, MDI has run successfully in the past years. Number 22 was open all the time. Andrew's passes were just a little bit leading him too far.
Yep, and Andrew worked hard all week. He came in at, and
I'm not criticizing Andrew. I'm just commenting.
That. Yeah, absolutely, and he knows that. And the thing about it is, any quarterback at any level, I mean, you're talking college or professional, rolling to your left when you're a right-handed quarterback is really hard to do, and that's really what we were doing. And I don't honestly, that probably wasn't fair to him because we did a lot of that. And it's hard to get that foot planted and throw a good ball, and those balls were all really close. But probably his strength definitely is to roll more to the right because he's a right-handed kid, and he worked hard. He came in the gym 3 or 4 days last week with Mark Arnold, and just worked on his pass, his mechanics to throwing the ball, and so he's worked real hard. And I know he's just going to keep getting better, and I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to throw good balls this coming Friday night. So it's just something we just got to keep getting better at. That's all.
And they had a real heavy pass rush coming at him. I mean, they put him on his backside quite a few times when he tried to get rid of the ball. Yeah,
and I mean they brought, you're right, a lot of linebackers blitzing, and that makes it hard to throw the ball. And I mean they loaded the box defensively to try to stop our run. And if you have a hard time throwing the ball, then that sort of defense is going to be successful. Now, with that being said, if we can figure out how to get guys into the flat and get the guys deep and throw good balls and them catch the ball, then a lot of teams are going to back off from that sort of defense because you just can't load up the box if you got a team that can throw the ball. So, I haven't given up on the pass game. I haven't given up on our kids, and that's something we'll just keep working on this week.
Obviously, it's one way or another. It's the last home game. You need to have a big crowd. There's rumors that the Acadian Youth Sports may be doing some tailgating. What do you want to say to everybody to get ready for Friday night's playoff game?
Yeah, I mean, once again, this is the biggest game of the year. I mean, like we say, the farther you go, each game's the biggest game. And, when you come down now to games where if you lose, you're done, I mean, there's a lot of pressure there. And, as many people as we can get to come out to this football game, and if they are tailgating, that is awesome because that usually draws more people. And, we hope we have a good crowd Friday night versus Oceanside.
All right, Coach, we'll have a good week. We look forward to talking to you Thursday in preparation for MDI's quarterfinal game on Friday, October 30th against the Oceanside Mariners.
All right, Chris, thank you.